What's up, you guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Alex Hampton Show. I'm so sorry you guys didn't get to see the intro. Apparently, StreamYard has literally changed some of their rules, so I do apologize about that. But we are back in 2025. I can't wait to continue doing shows like these and other shows. More things are coming out as we are in the pipeline. But enough about me. I could not do this show without my great co-host, Mr. Jeremy Branch. How are you doing today, Jeremy?
I'm just glad to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me. We got a bunch of fun topics to delve into today. Some that I was kind of hoping that we would be discussing, and others that I wasn't expecting that I'm glad we're going to be touching on. So let's get to it. Hey, Bubby, I lost you. I'm going to message you in case you can't hear me. It may be on my side, so I just want to double check. Now on the show. Woo! What's up, everybody? We lost our man's Alex, I think, which means I am the only one on the stream. Good. Now that I have you guys to myself, got some things I want to talk about. Shout out to Alex and congratulations for his new home. He and his wife have just now moved into a new place, and he's working out some kinks in his internet connection and his setup. He just now got things going again. So we're having a little bit of technical difficulties in the meantime, but I'll fill some airspace. You know what I mean? If I can do anything, I can run my mouth.
Okay.
Here he comes.
I'm sorry, you guys had a little bit of a network issue. It's funny. That's how that happens when you get back and start things. So even though this is live, I can't go back and cut and edit. This is how we're going to flow the show today. So again, I would like to welcome you guys back to the Alex Hampton Show. This is a show we talk about movies, pop culture that you see literally on the internet. I'm your host, Alex Hampton. I have my co-host with me here, Jeremy Branch from the Jeremy Branch YouTube channel. We got a lot of topics we're going to dive in today. But real quick, before we dive into our topics, if this is your first time ever watching us here on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Then hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all the notifications every time I'm releasing a video here on my YouTube channel. Stay tuned to a lot of different things that we are putting out. We're gonna have a whole lot of fun on Momentum Media. Now, before we jump into our main topics, we would like to start off the show with some off the top topics. And off camera, Jeremy mentioned this, and it's funny because I literally had this off the talk. I wasn't sure if you were aware of it, but it looks like Lil Nas X is in jail or heading to jail for some nonsense. If you've been watching what's been going on TikTok or the Breakfast Club, apparently Lil Nas X is, I think he pleaded not guilty or guilty for what was it?
Assault on a police officer was part of it.
Yeah, assault on a police officer. But there's a clip I'm seeing of him like half naked, involving this whole thing. Me personally, at first I thought it was like a prank or publicity stunt, because nowadays you can hire police to be a part of your BS. So, but this is real. If you look it up in the county that he was arrested in, he is listed as not only a suspect, but someone who's actually facing jail time. Jeremy, what do you think about Lil Nas X assaulting a police officer, and where do you think his career, where do you think he's just going as a person?
All right, so this is interesting. On Tuesday, August 26th, he came out with a positive message basically saying, your girl is going to be okay, boo. She's going to be all right. She's going to be all right. That was effing terrifying. That was terrifying. That was a terrifying last 4 days, but your girl is going to be all right. 4 felony charges. He pleaded innocent to all 4 of the felony charges, but he is obviously going to be facing some time. So, man, I got so much on Lil Nas X. It's wild. You're going to love this story in a minute. But first of all, I saw the video. I saw Lil Nas X in whitey tighties with a parking cone on his head, kind of running around the streets of LA. And I thought, like, I mean, I've seen Lil Nas X at the Met Gala. This just looked like a regular Lil Nas X fit to me. I was like, all right, cool outfit. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't striking any red flags with me to see him dressed like that. The dude always dresses crazy. But apparently people were either worried about his health or he was acting out. And so they called the police down there. Things escalated. He got arrested. Well, where we put our conspiracy theory parking cone hats on is when we learned that he supposedly has a new album coming out or is working on a new album. You hear that?
Right. Yes, this happened. Him and Kanye West have a trend of doing crazy stuff maybe a month or so before the album comes out.
Yeah. If you're gonna, they say all press is good press. And I don't know if they are correct about that, because there's a fine line between doing something wild enough to get attention and like not getting 4 felonies in the middle of it. So, man, if this is publicity, the commitment to the bit is I don't even want to say commendable. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Alex and I know each other because Alex used to work with my wife for a Hilton. So both of us kind of know people in the hospitality industry. Yeah. Well, I was talking to somebody that I know very well in the hospitality industry a few months back, and Lil Nas X was on tour for the Montero album. Yep. He played a music festival here in the area. And you know how celebrities have riders, like when they stay at a place? Yeah. Like a rider, for those of y'all that don't know, is like kind of a list of, it's not demands because they're not demanding it, but they've got a list of prerequisite things that will be provided by either A, the venue where they're performing, or B, the hotel where they're staying at. Yeah. Well, they provided this hotel that they were staying at with a rider, his people did, and it had several different things on them. Not many of them were exceptionally strange, but they did ask for cat beds, because Lil Nas X has these 2 cats, and he takes them on tour with him everywhere he goes. The names of the cats, this is fantastic. Aquafina and Dasani. So he's got 2 cats that he brings everywhere with him named Aquafina and Dasani. I don't know if he got those cats at the same time or he just like, I got Dasani, now I got to get Aquafina. I don't know if he's going to get like Evian for his next cat. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun.
Or Fiji.
Fiji the dog. Yeah. I think it's funny. But what wasn't on the rider was cat litter boxes, was cat litter, anything like that. You would assume if the person isn't asking for that, however, they are asking for cat beds, then they must have that situation figured out. I mean, after all, this is a multi-platinum recording artists, they got resources. Once Lil Nas X checked out of this hotel room and the cleaning housekeepers went in, the entire place was filled with cat poop. So there was no cat litter before. If you've ever been around cat excrement, it's pungent. It smells so strong. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it is. It's he must have stayed at a Hilton.
I don't know. I cannot confirm nor deny where he stayed at or who told me this, but on God, this is all came to me firsthand. But I started doing some research on this thing called Toxoplasma gondii, and it is a parasitic infection. It's a brain worm that comes from being around cat excrement. So if he's on tour and he's going everywhere and he's staying at all these hotels and his cats are just doing their business in there, maybe he is struck with a brainworm, not dissimilar to what RFK Jr. is experiencing from his brainworm, and it's caused him to go like psycho and delusional. There's like a Venn diagram of behavioral issues, cognitive things, including like bipolar, schizophrenia, antisocial personality disorder, a bunch of these things on the whatever that psychological spectrum is. But there are research studies that conclusively or maybe inconclusively show a correlation between being around cat poo and acting out in strange ways. So, Alex, is it possible that what happened to him is that Aquafina and Dasani poop finally broke his brain?
I think his brain was broken long before all this other stuff, but it's possible only because like this was the same person who did a Nike shoe line with chicken blood in the shoe.
Wait, what?
Yeah, remember when he did that music video with him like lap dancing with the devil?
Yeah.
Okay, so he had a Nike brand line where it was called like the Satan shoes, and in the shoe was supposed to be like chicken blood because they couldn't obviously get human blood. Obviously.
Okay.
And I think anybody who bought those shoes, I think anybody who plays with Satan of any kind is crazy. But hey, you know.
Yeah. Well, then this kind of lends credence to your whole theory that it's a publicity thing.
Oh yeah, but it's funny you say that because the reason why I say he must have stayed out of Hilton, I find it hard to believe because I've worked for Hilton and Marriott. Marriott, depending on the person that you are, maybe this could have happened at a Marriott. Marriott does not allow pets unless it's like a service animal. Like you have to prove it's a service animal. And since this whole Paris Hilton thing where she's been going around promoting Hilton and allowing her dogs to stay with her, I feel like that's probably where he stayed. And if he was in Pensacola, there are a few nice Hiltons out there. So at least on the beach area. I'm not pinpointing which one he stayed. I'm just saying like he probably was at one of those. And I would like to think that because I've been in that situation where we've had tenants bring their birds, their dogs, their cats, and they just, lack of a better word, they shit everywhere. And housekeeping has to clean it up. So do I think it's a product of that? Yes, but when you were talking, it made me wonder, well, what's his house like?
Yeah, that's a good question. Man, I was watching this kid influencer documentary on Netflix last week, and this woman and her daughter, this like family influencer channel, they had 70 cats and were spending $20,000 a month on feeding these cats. Can you imagine having that kind of money, dude? And like you said, what does the house look and smell like? That's crazy.
That's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
$20,000 a month to feed animals that you're probably going to outlive. That is crazy.
If you're wondering how the other half lives, it's stupid. The answer is stupid.
Exactly. Very, very dumb. But you know, it's funny. I mean, I'm gonna pass it off to you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think Lil Nas X is literally doing this for publicity? Or is he actually crazy? I mean, he got on he was on the Breakfast Club and he said, F your kids. So, and I think he meant that. I really do think he meant that. So, you know, jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And guys, we got one more off the top topic that I wanted to pass it to Jeremy. Jeremy, I don't know if you heard, but there seems to be some fights on the Avengers Doomsday set. Apparently, it was reported that RDJ and Robert Downey Jr.
Ryan Reynolds.
RDJ and Ryan Reynolds, you're right. Had a feud on set because something was said out of character. Now, Variety has debunked it. The two actors themselves have debunked it. And then I think Ryan Reynolds' representation has said that Ryan Reynolds has not been on the set of Avengers Doomsday. So this feud between him and RDJ, if there was one, it has nothing to do with what's going on set. But he basically, his representation said there is no feud. However, there is, from what I understand, there is a feud on set, It's just there's some actors that we don't know who it is. And
Mm.
someone told me, well, I'll be honest, when I texted Robert Meyer Burnett about this, he wouldn't tell me the names, but he said it's someone that you've seen consistently in the MCU films. So it leads me to believe that uh if it's not Robert Downey Jr., I personally think it's probably Anthony Mackie and somebody else.
Mm.
Only because his movie didn't perform well, and then also every time he's been asked about filming on Avengers Doomsday, his comments about it haven't been necessarily bad, but not positive, if that makes sense. Um I mean, he's excited to do it, but like, I don't know. I think he's probably assuming that he needs more screen time. I don't know. But again, that's just a guess. I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's Anthony Mackie because I don't know. But have you heard this news? And who do you think the two actors are who are actually feuding on set or had a feud on set?
Yeah, that's a good question. I did hear a little bit about it. I didn't delve too far into it because, like you said, some people debunked it afterwards. But then again, the PR machine is going to outwardly say like, no, everything's all good. Why would they be like, oh yeah, guys, let me spill the tea and tell you about this fight that was happening on the set? Ryan Reynolds, man, he can't catch a break right now. Everybody is still so mad at boy because of the whole Blake Lively.
The Deadpool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any opportunity that someone can find to throw gas on that, I think they're going to do it. And I feel like Ryan Reynolds is just going to be a controversial figure moving forward. However, to your point, and I believe this, he hasn't been on set for that movie. Let's say he does have a cameo. Are we going to get like Deadpool in the flesh with his mask off? Are we going to get 100% CGI Deadpool and they just splice him in some scene? I don't know. I can't say one way or the other, but him not being on set doesn't surprise me. Where when Robert says, it's somebody who's reappeared in the MCU or we've seen throughout the MCU, that would lead me down the path of thinking like, is it one of our core Avengers? Is it somebody that we've been riding with from the very beginning? Well, let's think. Mackie, that dude speaks his mind in a way that some people are like put off by. I think for better or worse, like at least he's keeping it real with people, Yeah. It's possible. Is it Jeremy Renner? I mean, he's had stuff come up, it could be Chris Evans, I'm not real sure. And I would need to kind of get some details as to what's being filmed because I've been pretty in the dark as far as that stuff goes. With such a massive ensemble cast, there's so many possibilities of people clashing with each other that have maybe never worked together before, or I don't know, man. It could be one of how many people were announced in that lineup.
Oh my god! Like at the lineup itself, I think it was at least 15, maybe 20 people. But it was more so the old X-Men, and then also some of your favorite Avengers like Chris Hemsworth, RDJ.
Dude, I was thinking like 70 people when they did that casting chair.
I thought it was. I don't know if it, because that lasted pretty long, or they say it was like 5 or 6 hours. It could have. I don't know. I could be wrong. I
see 61. So I was off. You were off. We were both wrong. But that's how many have been announced in total up to this point. So maybe they didn't announce all of them in that initial weird 5-hour stream that they did. But
and then they say they're supposed to be sometime near like September, a second chair watch where they release the names of the second half, if there is a second half. So.
Oh, great.
But yeah,
it could be anybody.
Yeah, it could be anybody. But you know what I find strange about this is that the MCU does not need this type of publicity right now. In my opinion, only because they, their films have not been performing as well as they should, and we're gonna dive more into that into deeper topics. But I just felt as though, Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr. are feuding over what exactly? I mean, Ryan Reynolds has a smart mouth, but so does RDJ. So I would think that if something were said, it would be just a battle of wits, maybe.
Yeah,
Again,
I agree.
I don't know. But what do you guys think? I actually want you guys to jump into the comment section below and tell me who you think are the ones feuding on set. Let me know in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Okay, guys, now we're going to jump into our main topics. And our main topics, we're going to start off like this. Recently, this past, I think, Thursday or Friday, we were, it was the anniversary of Chadwick Boseman's death. Fun fact, the day after he died, me, Jeremy, and Ian, we did a tribute on my channel, just basically remembering him and, what he meant to us overall as not just an actor, but just him as an individual. It's been 5 years.
Crazy.
Since his death. It feels like, to me, it still feels like yesterday. Like, it's crazy because a fun fact, I just finished watching Eyes of Wakanda, which is an animated shorts that they have on Disney Plus.
Was it good?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's animated, but it's okay. It's not Black Panther 1. I'll just say that.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
But yeah, so I before I give my thoughts about remembering Chadwick Boseman, Jeremy, are there any fond memories of Chadwick Boseman that you have, or what have you thought about? Or I guess my question is that what's been his impact in your life since he's been gone and even while he was on Earth?
Well, it's funny that you and I met each other because of the work of Chadwick Boseman and because of the work of Ryan Coogler. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, Alex and Victoria worked together out at a Hilton on Pensacola Beach. But the first time I ever met Alex was coming out of seeing Black Panther. Both of us had seen the movie and we got to chatting over it. And I think, broadly speaking, superhero cinema has brought tons of people together. There's an industries built around it. It's had a lot of, impact in ways that who would have ever expected. Chadwick Boseman specifically, I remember his introduction in Civil War and just what an awesome character he was. And, that movie also had to deal with these several different storylines and introduced us not only to Black Panther, but Spider-Man. And yet still somehow there was just something about Chadwick Boseman's performance that you knew immediately, like this guy is going to be a star. This is just like going to strap a rocket to his back and he's off, no turning back. He's one of our biggest movie stars, comparable to somebody like, Ryan Reynolds or somebody like Michael B. Jordan, where you see him and you know exactly who they are. And unfortunately, I think the reason why so many people are aware of him now is not dissimilar to like Brandon Lee. They were these bright stars that had this incredible future ahead of them, and they just now kind of got introduced to the world. And then this untimely passing happens that nobody expected, nobody saw coming, and it cut the legacy so short that we'll never be able to see his potential fully realized. But there was never a moment on screen that I didn't find Chadwick Boseman to be incredibly captivating. And yes, Ian, Alex, and I did a review. I remember it was a strange and kind of surreal experience. A bunch of reactors all got together on YouTube. I want to say there was like 20 of us that had just now heard the news. Anthony Knight was one of them. There was a bunch of us. I can't even remember all their names. But we just all kind of collectively got together and mourned over the passing of this just iconic person playing an iconic character that has impact societally in a way that I can't fully appreciate. And I know, Alex, that he in particular was like a special to you in a lot of ways. So I'm kind of curious how you're feeling here with so much time removed.
Yeah. For me, um, the last thing that I saw him in was, I think it was Mama's Ray Bottom or something like that. It was a Netflix movie. It was his last film that he filmed before he perished. And it's funny because I think back to the tribute video that we did. I remember saying in that video that at that time I wasn't necessarily concerned about him being replaced as Black Panther, because I'm sure Marvel will figure it out. They have a machine. But I think about how that character resonates with Chadwick Boseman so well that when I look at his other work, because I was looking at, I rewatched 42 again, and I'm like, wow, he really is Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
And then I watched Get On Up, and I'm like, he is James Brown.
So good in that.
And then there's a movie he does where he's playing an African. It's on Netflix. He's playing an African character, but his sister gets kidnapped, and he's looking for his sister. And he sounds like T'Challa, if I'm being honest. But he's hunting for his sister because he wants to make sure that she's okay and wants to save her. So there's this that particular film, and my favorite film. I mean, I love Black Panther. Black Panther is one of my favorite films out of the MCU. But I will say my favorite film of his is when he did. It was another Netflix movie with he's in the army. It just escapes me. It's a Spike Lee movie.
Yeah. I can't think of. It's not Letters to Iwo Jima. It's the other half of that.
Yes. Where his performance in that was amazing. I think the reason I say it's my favorite performance because we kind of see him in a different element, and it's amazing. I
was wrong about the Iwo Jima thing. I'm sorry for interjecting. It's called The Five Bloods.
The Five Bloods. That's it. The Five Bloods. Yes. I love The Five Bloods. That's one of my favorite movies that Spike Lee has put together. Chadwick Boseman, in my opinion, was truly a king on earth. And he was very humble, well respected, and just loved amongst his peers. And he was a guy that you did not hear about in Hollywood getting into craziness. Yeah. There was no scandal. There was no baby mama drama. This was just a guy who loved the craft. And I remember replaying that. I remember where I was at when Chadwick Boseman told that story of finishing the Black Panther film and trying to finish it on time so these boys who had cancer could see it before it gets released, but they died before they could finish the film.
Yeah.
And it really broke his soul. But the crux of that story is those same boys who had cancer, he was fighting the same thing while filming this movie, just so these boys can see a Black superhero in real time. Because I'm sure those boys probably didn't see Blade, or they probably didn't see Into the Spider-Verse. I don't know, but I can say that Chadwick Boseman was fighting to make sure the Black kids who were going through something or not were going to see this film. And he gave us such an amazing performance as T'Challa, from Civil War to Black Panther to Infinity War and Endgame. His performance as T'Challa will always stand the test of time. I do think it's necessary now to pass on the mantle. I did like Black Panther 2, but it was just missing T'Challa. But I will say this. The one thing I will commend them on is them honoring Chadwick in that movie.
Yes. Yeah.
I did like how they did that. But now that it being 5 years, I'm fortunate. Not fortunate. I'm thankful that his legacy will always live on.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I do miss that type of element in person who was around to encourage everybody, but also be an inspiration within himself. So
yep.
But yeah, did you have any more thoughts of Chadwick?
No, I think you said it beautifully, man. I guess a thing about being a movie star that when it comes to legacy is like every film that somebody does is a moment captured in time that will live on forever. I know that like in the digital age, is anything really forever? It's hard to say, but my point in saying that is like Chadwick Boseman will always be alive. You just go and honor him by watching The Five Bloods or Black Panther or Get On Up or any of those things that you said, and that's a nice thing that people can always reconnect with him and his essence through the work that he did. So yeah, if nothing else, pop on a Chadwick Boseman movie, check it out.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you guys think? Comic session. This is what I want you guys to do. Comment your favorite moment or movie that Chadwick Boseman was in that you love. It could be if you even met him in person. I would love to hear your story in the chat in the comment section. One of the things I wish I could have done, I had 2 opportunities to meet him when he came to Orlando for the reviewing of that Black Panther mural. I couldn't get tickets to go, but also the other he had there was a Comic-Con that he was at that I did get tickets for San Diego Comic-Con. I couldn't make it because of work, but I wish I could have made him. I wish I could have meet him. And unfortunately I didn't get to, but if you did get the chance to meet him and talk to him or whatever, jump into the comment section below, let me know your thoughts, or if you have a favorite movie or story of his, jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right. Now we're about to jump into this next topic. This next topic, actually, that me and Jeremy were talking about a couple nights ago. Listen, I love MMA and I love Rampage. Rampage is an amazing MMA fighter. He's not my favorite MMA fighter, but I love what he brings to the sport. But it seems like his son Raja might be going to jail, like for real. And I'm glad. And I'm going to point out, Jeremy did a good job sending me more context to it, because the only thing that I saw was that TikTok video that's been floating around, and TikTok has not been doing a good job blurring out the actual beatdown. But if you guys don't know, Roger Jackson, son of Rampage, MMA fighter Rampage, was caught up in a wrestling promo with this guy named Psycho, but it's spelled Siko. Psycho's a wrestler, and Raja was entering this wrestling field. Now, apparently, and Jeremy sent this to me because I didn't know this was a thing. Psycho was like taunting Raja and took a real beer can and smashed it against his head. And if you fast forward to the next video where Psycho was wrestling, Raja jumps in, picks him up, booms him down, gets on top and just starts hammering him. Now, it looks like when he booms him down, he's already unconscious.
Yep.
So before he started punching him, he's unconscious. But once he starts punching him, he's adding more fuel to the fire. And here's the problem that I have with this video. Why didn't the wrestlers come to Raja sooner? They let him get off at least 4 or 5 licks on his face before like anyone comes to break him up. Are they afraid of Raja? That was the notion that I got. Yeah. And according to reports, I think they're according to reports, or at least the report I read, that it's attempted murder. And Psycho's fine. He was unconscious. He's stable. He's not dead. However, he could have died that night. And let me just say this, because at first I thought it was like promotion, like what Lil Nas X is doing. But let me just say this: wrestling for the most part is fake. Mm-hmm. For the most part. However, what we saw was not fake at all.
No.
And I would just say to Raja and his family, you should not allow anyone to take you out of your character. You shouldn't allow anyone to disrespect you, but don't let something happen. Don't do something for 5 seconds give you 50 years. Because if it were me, I not only would I put you in jail, I would sue the hell out of you. That's just me. I would sue the hell out of you. But I will say Psycho had it coming, because if you hit me with a beer can, I'm just gonna punch you in the face.
So yeah,
but I wanted to pass it to you, Jeremy. What do you think about the situation overall? What do you think is going to happen? And oh, by the way, before you give your opinion, I will say Rampage did put out a statement, and he's handling it very well. But I will say Rampage, a little bit of it is of him covering his ass, in my opinion. So, but what do you also think about that statement as well? And what do you think about your opinion over the whole matter?
So, all right, a couple of things. Psycho Stu was hit 21 times before the people pulled him off of.
My God.
Raja hit Psycho Stu 21 times before they pulled him off of him. Just haymakers, and the dude's totally defenseless, right? Like Alex said, and I think he's right. The second that he got Alabama slammed and his head whiplashed and hit the mat, I think he was out then. If not, the first, second, third hit definitely knocked him out. At some point, he was completely defenseless laying there. And Alex, I don't know how like deep into the YouTube space on this you've gone, but it's a very contentious and I think racially charged story.
Yeah.
I feel like let me back up a little bit. Okay, so there's this promotion called Knox Pro Wrestling.
I did see that. Yeah.
Rikishi is a Pensacola native. He owns this promotion. It was also affiliated with WWE, meaning WWE gave them some money or something. Nothing like major association. But because Rikishi's a Wrestling Hall of Famer, they granted him the ability to be able to tie the promotion to the bigger company. There's wrestlers, and wrestlers do kayfabe, and kayfabe is personas within a real person. It's the character. It's not the person. But oftentimes in wrestling, all the way back to like WrestleMania, the very beginning when Cyndi Lauper was getting involved and Mr. T was getting involved, they've always brought in outsiders.
Yeah.
There's a term called workers, and what workers are is it's just a term for somebody in the industry that's a wrestler that understands the difference between kayfabe and selling. Selling is like if somebody hits you with, it looks like a fist, but it's like a soft fist, and then you go, oh, and like that reaction to it is selling. A receipt is what happens when somebody works too stiff, which means they like hit you too hard, and so you check them by giving them a receipt. Okay, great, we got that set up. Raja comes to supposedly work in an angle at this wrestling company, and he shows up on stream with his camera guy, and Stu's there, and all their camera guys are there. And what Stu does is come up to him and is like, you know who I am? And Raja's like, no, I don't know you. And then Stu is like, you better know who I am, and picks up it's a half empty beer can, and he puts his hand on top of Raja's head. He places his hand on Raja's head as if to, because what you would do typically in wrestling is hit your own hand with the can, but Stu misses and hits him on the head. Whether or not that was intentional, it's hard to know what somebody's intentions are. But I think Stu was drunk. I think he was hammered, and that they were doing kind of like a tailgate party. And because it was like an unprofessional professional wrestling, indie wrestling kind of thing.
Right.
So if I walk up to Alex and I hit him over the head with a can, even though he may know that he's about to get into some kind of wrestling stuff, but I hit Alex over the head with a beer can, that's assault. That is assault. I don't know if it hurt you or not. Assault isn't about how much it hurts. It's about the act that was put on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Raja said on the stream it didn't hurt. So, okay, great. It didn't hurt, but it was still assault. And at the very least, it's going to do something to your pride, something to your ego. You're going to feel disrespected, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's if a black guy does it to a black guy, if a white guy does it to a black guy, if a black guy does it to a white guy, you're still going to feel a little disrespected. But then you put on the fact that like a lot of the people around were white people. And Raja's chat starts getting him really gassed. And Alex, you said it. If somebody hits you over the head with a can and you knock them out, one punch, that might be a receipt. That might be it might be an overreaction, but it was a reaction. It wasn't premeditated. It wasn't something you thought about. He hit you. He didn't tell you he was going to do it, because in a good program, they would have approached Raja ahead of time and they would have said, all right, you're going to come here. We're going to get in a face-to-face with you. We're going to hit you over the head with a beer can. It's not going to be full. It's not going to hurt, but it's going to sell that this is a real confrontation. Well, after Stu hit Raja and they both get pulled apart, one of the promoters that brought Raja in starts saying like, you're going to get your receipt. You're going to get your get back. Come to the wrestling ring and settle it in the ring. It's going to be great for promotion. And if he does anything to you, I'm going to step in. So Raja doesn't shake Stu's hand immediately because he's not into it. But then once this promoter says like, you're going to be able to get back at him, Raja shakes his hand and you can see the gears are turning in his head. And then the chat starts gassing Raja up and being like, you just got punked. You're a bitch. Your dad was your
saw
bitch.
that. Yeah.
You lost in MMA. You're not a good fighter. Just the typical crap that commenters do. They're just the worst kind of humans. Not you guys. Y'all are great. But most of the people who comment. So for the next couple hours, Raja's just getting madder and madder. It's not de-escalating. It's escalating. And the spot where he slams Stu, that was supposed to be the spot. Stu was supposed to sell it, but Raja knocked him out with that thing. And then, so if the receipt was knocking him out, you did that, dude. And then he gets on top of him, starts pummeling him, nearly beats the guy to death. The guy was literally drowning on his blood and teeth. Finally, some wrestlers intervene. They pull him out. One of those dudes got split. Raja's a real fighter. These wrestlers, man, Alex, you called it fake. I know there's acrobatics and you have to have an endurance and tolerance to pain. You also have to let go of your ego in a way to where if somebody does something like that, you keep your wits about you. But this guy wasn't a worker. He was just a celebrity that came in to do this thing on good faith. And then he felt disrespected. And I get it. He did deserve a get back. He probably should have knocked Stu out right there on the spot. And then he would have went viral for different reasons. And I think a lot of people would have been applauding him. But what he ended up doing was premeditated and just vile, horrible assault. And I hope that Stu makes a good recovery. As Alex said, he didn't die from it. I'm not sure if he'll ever be the same. I mean, he's definitely going to need some dental work. And I don't know what kind of head trauma he suffered from it. But also I'm going to get, if this clip happens to go viral, both of us are going to get so much heat for this, because the consensus is Stu is a retired veteran and this angry black man nearly beats him to death in the ring. And whether or not they say black man, they use these dog whistles like uncivilized, they use words that have historically been used for black folks, and they don't maybe say it explicitly, but it's like you can read between the lines and know what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I know where you're going with this, because there's actually one article you sent, there's a video you sent in our chat, and it's not necessarily the video, it's the comment section where someone actually blurred out. They started their commentary by using the N-word, but they blurred out the N-word, and they gave their commentary about what happened. And because so to me, and I may get attacked for saying this, I don't necessarily see it as a black and white issue personally, because Raja knew what he was getting into initially. And also, I will say this, yes, uh Psycho probably mistakenly hit him, but the fact of the matter is he did hit Raja. I think Raja took it too far.
Yeah.
And he was being gassed by his own, because there's a separate video where you see his stream in the comment section calling him a bitch. You know,
Yep.
I'm like, bro, like, first of all, if I were you, I'd fire your cameraman
Log
because
off.
he was gassing you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
on top of that, like, you shouldn't be listening or watching that. And then that's why I said, like, his father Rampage did a good job responding in a way that a father should. Like I said before, I do believe in that same response he was covering his own ass.
Yes.
But at the same time, I would say to Raja, even as an MMA fighter, you should not allow somebody wrestling, MMA, none of that, to get you to that point, because now you're striking up conversations like this. And I think personally, because there's video of him after that altercation of him fighting him, he's still like walking with the camera cussing like, I'm not gonna let you, no bitch, try me, I ain't no bitch, I'm this. I'm like, dude, the fight's over, dude.
Yeah,
it's over. Like, it's over. Like, instead of being worried about being called a bitch, I'd be worried if I'm going to jail or not.
And he might, but because I don't know, man, because I do believe there's an angle for the defense to say, like, Raja was assaulted first,
right?
But what he did was not a involuntary reaction. Yeah, and he waited hours and stewed over it and built up so much anger and so much hostility. And while, like, I agree on the surface, Rampage is and Rampage is a freaking legend, by the way, but his response was good and measured. But apparently he has said terrible things about Raja. Like, I'm setting aside college funds for 2 of my kids and bail money for 1 of my kids.
Right.
Raja had just now gotten a concussion like days before this. He should have never been involved in this in the first place. So I think there's blame to go around, but people don't want to look at things holistically. They just want to look at the real simple thing. And whether or not you and I ascribe to the fact that if it were different, if it were 2 white people, if it were 2 black people, maybe the outcome would have been the same. But you go to the comments and you see how race always plays a factor. I think it's impossible for it not to. And there's a bunch of bad actors and white supremacists living among us. They're like, they're out here. They may not say it in person, but they'll say it in the chat, and they'll say it in the comments section, and they'll hide behind their little ambiguous avatars. So there's no accountability. But I think there's been a lot of, like, bot campaigns and people who have bad intentions that are going into these chats and using very reductive and harmful stereotypes and they used Stu was a veteran. He thought that Raja was coming to work. He had no idea that this was going to happen. And that's probably mostly true, but I don't know what Stu's intentions were. I don't know if he did that in good faith or if he wanted to make Raja look like a punk because here's some outsider coming in that's not a wrestler, that doesn't know the business, that's just getting preferential treatment because their dad is famous. I don't know, but you're right. I mean, the big takeaway is to anybody is like, your pride is not worth your time. And that's what you're trading here. You took your time and you're trading it, or you took your pride and you're trading it for time. And it could be 5 years. I don't know. It could be 25 years. How much is your pride worth to you? Because ultimately this is the cost of it. And it's a shame all the way around. I think the promotion deserves responsibility. And if Stu sues them, I wouldn't blame him for that. If he sues Raja, I wouldn't blame him for that. If Raja gets arrested, I wouldn't blame him for that. But when he's getting charged and they're giving him his sentence, I hope they consider that this guy did not know the wrestling industry and did not know that this man was going to hit him on camera in front of tens of thousands of people. So it's just unfortunate, man, but it really has like lit up the online space in a way that I haven't seen many things lately.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been all over my TikTok feed, my Instagram feed, and even partially my YouTube feed, but more so TikTok because every 5 swipes there's a Raja video.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this really quickly before we go to our next topic is that I hope he, like you said, I hope he is charged fairly if it comes to that because he was assaulted first. However, I do think he kind of again he took it a little bit too far, in my humble opinion.
A little bit.
But I will say this: the only way, as a black man, the only way I would count this as a racial issue is if Psycho were saying racial slurs or saying anything disparaging about black people. Since we don't have that, I don't consider it a racial issue.
That's right.
I see 2 fighters basically engaging in some form of combat, and one of them took it a little bit too far. That's
way too far. Way too far for me.
Yeah, because like hitting him 21 times, he's down. Like they always say, never hit a man while he's down.
Yep.
That's you know, right. Like you should like even like, and I don't know how it is in prison, but when you're fighting in prison, so I've heard stories from ex-prisoners who say when they're down, they're down.
Yeah.
You know. So, but for me, I'm praying for Psycho and his wife or his family. I hope he makes a full recovery. I hope this doesn't traumatize him where he can't work and function normally. Because I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Right.
I'm also praying for Raja and his family that whatever happens, that obviously he does deserve some consequences, but fairly. And I pray that if nothing does bad happen to him, I hope that this is a learning experience and not one of those experiences that you should allow your fans or family to gas you into something that's going to put you behind bars.
Nope.
Or put you in or even a worse place, because where I'm from, and you know this in Pensacola, if you beat somebody down and they take it crazy or take it the wrong way, they're not coming back with fists. You know what I mean? They're going to come back with lethal force.
Yep.
So I hope it doesn't go to that level. So, but my prayers go out to Psycho and his family, and Raja and his family. But what do you guys think? Just be honest. What do you guys see from this situation? Give your honest opinions about it, and how do you think it should play out going forward? Just jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, because of time, we're going to limit it down. I have 3 more topics. We're going to limit it down to 2, and we're going to jump into our main topic, which is the title show of this topic of today. Is there comic book movie fatigue? Now, I brought up this topic because even though this is my first time coming back to the Alex Hampton show, I've talked to some of my peers in Orlando and some of you guys back home who've seen the recent movies that have come out between Marvel and DC. We've had the Thunderbolts, Captain America 4, Fantastic Four, and Superman. I loved the Thunderbolts.
Me too.
Thunderbolts was amazing.
It was great.
Didn't perform well. Captain America 4, it's okay. I wouldn't blame you if you guys watched it on Disney Plus.
That's what I did.
It's a Disney Plus movie, in my opinion. And I hate that for Anthony Mackie, because Anthony Mackie is an amazing actor. And I hate that for him.
You know what's wild?
Go ahead.
Only Marvel movie that I saw on Disney Plus, because the word was so mediocre, even from my friends. So it's not because of Anthony Mackie. It's just because the reception of it was so lukewarm. And like you said, Anthony Mackie's a great actor. They didn't give him much to work with, man. That was just not a great movie.
Right. It just wasn't a good movie. Yeah. And they definitely misused Isaiah's character. I love that character. But anyway,
awesome.
Fantastic Four. amazing.
It's good.
It's literally out of all the Fantastic Four movies that we have, it's the best one. I will say this: I rewatched the first one. I like the first one because of the comedy element of Thing and Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, Johnny Storm. That's the only reason why I really like that one. But in the Fantastic Four movie, the one that just came out, their dynamic in the movie is completely different. They love each other. They're like brothers.
Yeah.
Which I loved in this film as well. And then Superman, which we'll give our brief Superman review after this topic, but because I can't wait to see or hear what Jeremy has to say about it. But I loved the movie. I loved this movie. But when I look at these movies, aside from Superman, these Marvel movies have not performed well. And Fantastic Four, guys, when I want to go see Fantastic Four, it kind of felt like an Avengers premiere movie for the first Avengers movie. People were dressed up in their Fantastic Four.
Oh, that's cool
stuff. Me and my wife, we had Fantastic Four shirts with the four on them, and our theater was crowded. And when we saw the end credit scene of Doom, everybody was like, "Oh my god!" Like it felt like an Avengers level premiere, and the movie was great. My favorite scene of the whole movie, spoilers, is when Sue is giving birth during this commotion.
wild scene. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
that was freaking out. And just to see Galactus, I was like, bro, watch that movie in IMAX. I was like, holy shit. Like it was just huge.
Yep.
But it goes to, because that movie, unfortunately, is not performing well. Now I will say this. Movies don't need to make $1 billion in order to them to be successful. So when I say fatigue, I'm not saying that in regards to they didn't hit $1 billion. However, what I'm saying is they normally don't hit the Marvel money, Marvel metric like normal. I think anything over $600 million is where most Marvel movies lie to an extent. Deadpool and Wolverine hit $1 billion, but I think the reason why that hit $1 billion because it's Deadpool and Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
that's a billion dollar ticket. So for me, the reason why there's fatigue is because if I'm being honest, with the accumulation of what they've done on Disney Plus and what they've done in just recent movies and stuff, people are just tired of the bullshit. If I'm being honest, and it's unfortunate that Superman did hit over $600 million, and according to James Gunn, it is profitable. But because it's such a good movie, it had to fight against all of the BS of the DCEU that came before it. And because when you watch it on its surface, it was a good movie, but people are just tired of BS when it comes to this. And I remember a time like back as early as 2019 where a movie like Captain Marvel hitting $1 billion, which that movie should have been maybe 500 or 600 million.
That movie's about as good as Brave New World.
Exactly. To me. It's not that great of a film, but it hit $1 billion. Same with Aquaman, which I found strange. Aquaman hit $1 billion, and I'm like, it's one of the better films out of the DCEU, but it's not $1 billion movie in my opinion. However, I will just say the reason why there is comic book movie fatigue right now is because there's been a heightened sense of mediocrity amongst comic book entertainment, unfortunately. And great movies like Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and even Superman have to suffer through it. Now, I do think that Marvel will get their footing back, or they're getting their footing back at least. But I'm not as confident that Doomsday is going to make $1 billion.
That would be wild.
I thought I would never say that. And I was one of the people who did say bringing Robert Downey Jr. back for Doomsday, I do think it is a desperate move. Because this was the same person who went on Joe Rogan and said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, there's no way. He said, there's no way they can bring me back. I'm done. and here he comes. I think $100 million per film would bring me back, which he's
Yeah.
getting. Hey, he's doomed. So I am interested to see where they take the story. But if I'm being honest, I'm not as. This is why I'm gonna pass it to you, Jeremy. But I'm being honest, I'm not really excited for. And I thought I would never say this. I'm not excited for Spider-Man: Brand New Day. I'm not excited for what's coming down the Marvel pipeline. To be honest, I'm actually more skeptical of what Doomsday is going to bring, and even Secret Wars, because it just makes me wonder what are they trying to set up. And then Kevin Feige making comments saying that we will one day reset the MCU where we'll have a Tony Stark back and Chris Evans back as Captain America. Then I'm like, well, what was the whole point of making the transition from Chris Evans to Anthony Mackie as Captain America? If I'm Anthony Mackie and I hear Kevin Feige say that, I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
Because like, what was the whole point of that?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also with the DC properties, Superman has a great start, and I love the world that James Gunn has set. However, unfortunately, there's still some naysayers and some Snyder people who are trying to shit on the movie. But after seeing what we've seen over the last, I would say 2 to 3 years, Jeremy, do you believe that there is comic book movie fatigue? And also, if you do believe that, what do you believe it's a result of?
It's a complex question, and I echo everything that you said. I think is right. The fact that there was a direct movie to movie progression all the way through the Infinity Saga really helped audiences to follow along. You watch Iron Man all the way through to Endgame, and you get this cohesive, mostly tightly interwoven, really effectively built franchise. Then they got greedy and they said, you know what, we can expand this to television. They did the same thing with Star Wars, right? These were big theatrical experiences, and then they diluted them by now all of a sudden you've got this one main line that's going through all the movies, but now you got to get Disney Plus. And not only do you got to get Disney Plus, you got to watch all of these different series, and not all of them are great. There's some greatness in there. Absolutely. I think WandaVision is phenomenal. I think the best parts of Loki are phenomenal. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not that they're not good. It's just diluting the product being a big cinematic experience. And that's what drew people in for as long as they did. There's also a pandemic that happened in between then and in between now. And you and I mean, we've been, big comic book movie fans since the beginning. And I remember the excitement in the early days of every project that got announced. We would make YouTube videos. We would watch what the Schmoes had to say about it and what AMC Movie Talk had to say about it. What does Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman, what does everybody think about it? And it was an organism unto itself. It was like the marketing didn't even really need to come from the movie studios because the fans were so excited to be advocates for it. The pandemic happens. Movie viewing habits changed. All of a sudden, not everybody goes to the movie theater anymore. Ticket prices continue to surge. Service continues to kind of degrade over time. The theatrical experience doesn't feel like it once did because they don't take as good a care of the theaters and the projectors, and the concession prices are just getting higher and higher. And people eventually are just like, you know what? It's not cost effective anymore to go to the movie theater. Mm-hmm. So the $1 billion metric, I agree with you. The $1 billion metric can't be where we set the line for like success anymore. However, since Thunderbolts, they have been on a roll, man. Like, I remember seeing Thunderbolts in the theater and getting that feeling. And I'm not saying I'm excited like I was to go see Endgame, but I'm saying there was like something inside me that was like, this is why you love this stuff. This is why you've spent so much time talking about this and listening to people talking about this and reading about it, and all of this is because that feeling that you get when it comes together. And I've never been a Fantastic Four guy. This movie made me get it. I understand why people are fans of these characters now. I was never a Superman fan. And this will transition nicely into where we're going. But all of a sudden, I'm now a Superman fan. I thought the movie was phenomenal. But as far as fatigue, there are some of us that are going to ride this thing and follow it through. It doesn't matter. I'm excited about the new season of Peacemaker. I've liked the first 2 episodes a lot. I love how varied in content they are. Like Superman is kind of a all ages superhero movie. Peacemaker, you could not show to your kids. That is not a family show, not by a long shot, but they both cohesively fit within the same world. They feel true to the characters. So I think if we can give consumers confidence in the products again, like the consistency that we got in the early MCU, the fatigue will resolve itself. People will always go to see good movies the way they went to see Deadpool and Wolverine. But if you go mid, good, the people aren't going to get to experience the good because they're already tired of the mid. And I think that's what we're seeing. And I think that's what you touched on so eloquently, is basically just that, like, we've been inundated with stuff that isn't great. Give us a reason to come back, and we will. And I think we're seeing kind of a renaissance of the superhero genre. So hopefully that momentum continues, Momentum Media.
I hope so. It's just I thought I would never be at this place of confusion of, like, these are great movies and I am excited for Doomsday, but I'm not excited for it as I was for Infinity War. Like, Jeremy, you remember Infinity War? Bro, we were losing our minds.
Yeah.
I was still in Pensacola when Infinity War came out.
Yep.
And oh my God, I never forget, because I remember because Jeremy mentioned it, I used to work with his wife. At work, we would talk about what we were getting ready to see.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just elated with what the MCU was going to do. Now it's like Doom's coming. Okay.
I agree with you. I didn't touch on that, but I totally agree with you. It's hard to keep that same energy. It's like if you love chocolate ice cream, well, now you got to eat chocolate ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How long until you get sick of chocolate ice cream? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a really more so a big narrative and energy shift for both camps, because again, I love these movies. And hopefully as we are getting into the latter part of the MCU and also getting into the meaty crust of the DCU, we're going to get great content. I think the next film is Supergirl. So not a huge Supergirl fan, but after seeing her in Superman, I'm like, I definitely want to see this.
Yeah, same.
Because this is going to be crazy. But what do you guys think? Do you guys believe that there is comic book movie fatigue? Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, you guys, and I alluded to this to being our last topic, but this last topic, and I know it's late. Again, I fun fact real quick, I just moved into my bigger place, so I have more space now to create content, and I've been wanting to talk about this since I saw it. I saw this with my wife and we had a good time watching it. Superman, the review. And I saw your review on Facebook, Jeremy. It was well written, really good. But I have to say, when I watched this movie, my mind immediately went to, and I don't know if you saw this, I immediately went to the Justice League animated series, the Superman animated series. And for the first time, I felt like I could relate to Superman.
Yeah, that agreed.
Like, this man has tried to be a hero with a cape, not knowing that the toll that it takes on his body. He's it's funny because I made this comment. I did a review with one of my friends who creates content, and I said on there, I said, this man has a heart of steel, but it's not stainless. And you see that in this movie. Like this man is, his parents sent him here to destroy Earth, basically. But instead of doing that, he wanted to protect Earth, be amongst Earth's people. And the only time you see Superman being loved is when he's being flawless. And you know what? And this is what James Gunn did a good job depicting in this movie. So there are parts where certain individuals don't believe in Superman, like they think he's pretty much someone who could potentially destroy the Earth. But those are the same people asking him to defend the Earth when a huge kaiju monster appears. So you think he's dangerous, but you're going to ask the person you think is dangerous to protect you? I thought that was such great directing and writing. I did think Lex Luthor was corny, but I will say this. The actor who's playing Lex, you could see it in his face. He was having such a good time.
Oh yeah,
directing and playing with Ultraman. I thought like Lex was a very different type of Lex we've seen, but more comic booky. And I think that's what made the film work. And I love that speech. I mean, people have said it's corny, but I don't really catch a corny feel for it. I mean, he's talking about being human. And my thing is that we've never seen really outside of the comic books or outside of the cartoon shows of Superman really humanized and being like, you know, I walk amongst you guys as well. I feel like you guys feel. I may not be able to like bleed as much as y'all do, but I'm bleeding inside. And this was the first time we seen Superman cry. And this is what I said in one of my past commentaries in one of my friends' contents. We're watching Superman cry probably for the first time, and the people in his world don't get to see that. His tears are concealed. And we the viewer get to see it, but the people he protects will never see that. That's what I got when I watched that film. And then when I watch how they're setting up the DCU with Mr. Terrific. Oh my God. Scene Stiller.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And him with Crypto. Amazing. Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion was born to play a Green Lantern. He was hilarious. I can't wait to see him more in Peacemaker and in Lanterns. Bro, this movie was really good. Now, I still, from a story standpoint, I still like Man of Steel a little bit better because I do think they touch on, but I will say this, after watching this movie, it gave me a new lens to watch Man of Steel because when there's a scene in Man of Steel where Clark Kent is talking to his father. And he's like, was I supposed to let them die? And I'm like, as a kid, knowing you have all those powers, would you let a bus full of your peers die? And I never saw it in that same way until I rewatched the film. I was like, oh shit. And then even before then, when he's a little kid and he's experiencing his powers for the first time, he doesn't know how to handle it until his mom says, focus on my voice. And I'm like, oh my God, this scene means a whole lot more now that I'm rewatching it. So I will say Man of Steel kind of touched on it, but Superman basically like expanded that human element of Superman that we don't see. So it made me a fan of Superman. I'm gonna be honest, I was never a fan of Superman because I'm just being honest. As a black man seeing a white man with all that power, that's like an everyday thing life for all of us.
Yeah, I get it.
So it's like, okay, nah, he can stop a train. Great. But seeing this movie, I'm like, wow, you really see his heart on his sleeve in this movie. I love the side characters of Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and even Hot Girl. This Lois Lane is actually this is a reporter Lois Lane questioning Superman's actions. And I'll say this, and I'm gonna pass it to you. I'm gonna pass it to you after I say this. Superman is not an enforcer. Superman is basically like a firefighter. He goes where people need saving. When he went across state line borders to stop the war, he was trying to stop people from killing one another,
Yeah.
not attacking another country because they were attacking us. He was just stopping them.
Yep.
And so it was amazing to see that Superman has always been like a firefighting saving people who need saving. He was never like a police officer or a government agent where he's enforcing laws, unless you read Injustice. But other than that, I love this movie. I can't wait to see where this universe goes. I'm hell of excited for Supergirl. Jeremy, what did you think of James Gunn's Superman?
I love what you just now said about he's not a policeman, he's a firefighter. That's like such a great observation. And I've never thought about it through that lens. And now I'm going to steal that thought and put it in my brain so that I can say it later, because that's brilliant. It really is about empathy. It's a movie about empathy. And while James Gunn has a tendency to kind of make the same movie over and over again. Like if you think about Guardians 1, 2, and 3, you think about Creature Commandos, the Suicide Squad, all of them have very, very similar core elements. And it's about taking misfits, characters that are morally dubious, and then bringing them together for the greater good. And they become a family as a result of that. And he does that perfectly. And watching Peacemaker, it's kind of that same example. You take a bunch of dysfunctional family members, but you put them together and they overcome adversity. And that's great. But I was not sure how you use those sensibilities and then also do Superman, who is a character that is virtuous, but not a smartass. And he's not from the wrong side of the train tracks. He was raised in a good home. He's a Boy Scout, right? And to your point, I never really grew up liking Superman. I felt like he wasn't flawed enough and he was too overpowered. He wasn't vulnerable. And that's what I was concerned about going into this movie. After seeing it, I can say like for sure, and any of you that have seen it, you probably agree that like the most important thing is that Superman as a character shone through, and we got layers of him that I would never had experienced before. And you mentioned, the fact that he has, cries at a point in it. He has tears in a point in it. You can see his connection to humanity in a way that I've never really seen explored before. And I know that he says the good things, but I've never really seen him as so humanized. And I like Man of Steel. I appreciate what Zack Snyder was doing with it. I feel like it is a very different take on the character that makes sense within the context of something that somebody like me could understand, where you got to give Superman a conflict. What is his conflict? Well, he's a god among humans. How does he navigate that? How does he deal with having these, godlike powers? Where what James Gunn was interested in more is, how do I take this thing with godlike powers and connect him to the heart of humanity? And I think he did that incredibly well. I think the movie can be a little bit unfocused. I think it kind of, the Justice Gang, if you took Superman out of it, you have another James Gunn movie. You got the Super Gang, you got them fighting the giant monsters. It's just another James Gunn movie. But this is a Superman movie, and he nails that character, and I get it. I understand why people have an affection for him. And I think there's this line about he's talking to Lois about punk rock music and this band that he likes, and she's like, that's not punk, this is punk. That those guys were like some kind of pop punk band that were kind of like trying to come off as edgy. And at one point it leads them to the conclusion that like maybe being kind is punk rock. And in an era where people can be casually cruel and they can say terrible things in comment sections and they can just hurt each other for clout or because they're having a bad day or for whatever, like there is something radical about kindness. And that's something that like you can take into your everyday life and say, like, if I can just be nice, if I can just respond with empathy and not say, like, I don't know what this person was going through. I don't know why they're coming at me with that energy. But if I can just like let kindness be my kind of guiding principle, then like we can make the world a better place. And I think that's kind of what Superman 2025 posits. It's just like all of the power in the world cannot change the world if it's used for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But if you approach that power from a place of real empathy and you use it to stop conflict instead of going and beating up the bad guy, that's like a really cool thing to see in movies. I didn't think Lex was corny. I just thought it was a different take on him. I thought he was like a much pettier Lex Luthor, not like the evil genius that you know, but somebody who's kind of petulant and like really jealous of Clark. And I think that's, or of Superman. And I think that's true to the character, is just a different portrayal of it. And yeah, man, I mean, I'm a big fan. I walked out having really loved it. I am excited to see what the future of the DC universe holds. And outside of Injustice, and there's that moment at the end of like Justice League, the Snyder cut, where Superman kind of finally becomes Superman, that you're like, oh, there he is, kind of shining through. I feel like this is the best representation of the character I've ever seen.
I can do nothing but echo everything that you just said. You're absolutely right. I think corny is a bad word. I just felt like petty is the right word.
Yeah.
Because every time something happened, he kept running to the government. I'm like, the Lex I know, even from the cartoons, he's plotting, he's planning.
Yeah.
You know, and also he is political, because there's a point where Lex does become the president, which I think to an extent they were kind of alluding to. If you've seen any of JLA, the animated series, but overall, this wasn't a great film. This was a great film. Again, I am interested to see where they take the DCU. James Gunn has been asked a few times about Static Shock, and he said that he's looking for a way to integrate that character. But I think ultimately DC does not own the cinema rights to that character, just some of the comic book rights. So they have to kind of figure that out. However, I am interested to see where they go. Peacemaker has been funny. I love it. I can't wait to see Lanterns. I can't wait to see their Wonder Woman movie. I'm more so interested to see Supergirl, because just see the Woman of Tomorrow comic book come to life. Not only is it going to be great, but also the fact that this seems like a Supergirl who's like kind of like how we saw She-Hulk, but more darker. In my opinion. So I can't wait to see where James is going to take this. My only fear is that do not make any of your films kind of repetitive, like Guardians of the Galaxy to an extent. Like I love the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. I love what James Gunn has done. However, it kind of seemed like to me they were trying to copy the same elements of the first film, and was kind of diluted the second and third one. However, the third one I still think is the best one.
It's very good.
But I will say he shouldn't be the only one directing Superman. I would love to see a different director with his hands on the project, continuing on with the same style and maybe even the same writing team. But overall, I am excited for what the DCU has planned. Maybe one day they'll surpass Marvel. Maybe they won't. Who knows? But this is in better hands now. Did you have any final thoughts for Superman?
No, it's a good movie. Definitely highly recommend checking it out on digital if you didn't see it in the movie theater, which I know some of y'all didn't by the box office numbers, but check it out.
Yeah, and also fun fact, it's still in theaters. If you
that's right.
You want to see it in theaters as well. But guys, whoever's watching and will watch even after the post live show, jump into the comment section and just tell me what were your favorite moments of this movie. If you like this movie, if you didn't like this movie, jump into the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. And that will do it for today's episode of the Alex Hampton Show. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel where we're going to be putting out more content. I'm so glad you guys have stuck around and supported us. Thank you for the 5 people who are watching live with us. And Jeremy, where can we find you on YouTube and social media?
Check out Jeremy Branch on YouTube, and check out Holden Hardman's YouTube channel. I've been doing some reviews over there. He and I just now watched the film Heretic a couple of days ago, which will be an interesting video. He watched it through the lens of a Christian. I watched it through the lens of somebody who identifies as agnostic. And even though I don't know that I love labels in the first place, but it was just interesting to see the way that both of us reacted to that. So check out Holden Hardman's channel as well. And I'm writing a book. It's not near done yet, but I will keep you guys posted here on future episodes of the Ask Alex Show.
Awesome. And you know where to find us here. I'm in Winter Media. Stay tuned for more content that is coming out. And again, thank you guys for watching. And as always, you guys, have a blessed day.
Hell yeah, man.